Welcome to Rocky Mountain Marketing. I'm your host, Katie Brinkley. Join us as we dive deep with the world's leading digital marketing experts every single Tuesday. It's all about giving you the strategies that are working right now, directly from those who are making an impact. With my 20 years of experience, I'm here to help you navigate the world of digital marketing. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills or transform your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started on today's journey to success. Welcome back to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Today's guest, oh my goodness, for all of you longtime listeners, you've heard this guest before. He was one of our most downloaded podcast guests of all time. He was number one in 2021. Yes, folks, I'm talking about none other than Atiba D'Souza. He and I have had the opportunity, since he was on this show, to meet in real life. We've had the opportunity we talk on the phone now, we text each other, we've sent business back and forth, and he spoke at my Social Profit Lab event. He's just an amazing human being, and I had to bring him back on the show because it's been so long, and things have changed since we last talked. Atiba is still being amazing. He knows all the video stuff. Last time we talked about how to optimize your YouTube channels so that you could get more downloads and go viral over there on YouTube. But today we're going to be talking about a little bit of a different conversation within Atiba's wheelhouse. So he's been doing the social media, especially video thing, for a very long time. And we run around in a lot of the same circles. And as you continue running around in the same circles with people, you'll notice that some people have a lot of the similar approach to doing social media. Now, yours truly, I am doing things a little differently because I tell people to post less on social media. And Atiba has also discovered a strategy that's helping people create more content with the end goal in mind. And so this is what we're going to be talking about on today's episode, so that we know that we're not just creating content to create content, but really, what's the goal behind the post? What's the strategy behind it? So Atiba, thank you so much for joining me on Rocky Mountain Marketing once again and talking to our listeners about social media.
Katie, I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. It was so great to hear you recount all the stuff we've done in the last few years together. And it was like, oh crap, yeah, we did do that. Oh yeah, we did do that. Oh yeah, we did do that. It's great because we really have built a really great relationship over this time of sharing and helping each other. And honestly, I'm looking forward to us giving that to your audience.
I'm so excited. You're going to do awesome. You always have so many great ideas and insights to share. You spoke at Rich Brooks' Agents of Change in-person event, and then we both spoke at his virtual event in early 2024 together. You were doing a whole lot in the AI space for a while.
Yep.
But I feel that we were talking before I hit record here. We were talking a little bit about, well, what have you been up to? What are you focusing on? What are some of your goals for, well, we didn't even get outside of June. And what I loved about hearing you say, well, I'm doing this and I have this going on and I got this launching and we're doing the newsletter, all these things. But when I said, well, what can I tell my audience the best way to learn more from you? And that's what I want to talk about for today's whole episode, because I feel like this is like your soul here, Atiba.
Yeah.
This is something that's, all these other things, the AI, the video, how to do all the things. But what you're giving to people now is you. All the things that you've learned over being in this world for how many years have you been doing the social media thing now?
Too many to count. I tell people all the time, I ran in 2010 a giveaway in Facebook groups using QR codes. Y'all just think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
But you're right, Katie. And one, thank you for being a friend enough to see that in me. I really appreciate that. And two, for everyone listening, let me kind of bring you forward into a little bit of what Katie's saying here. I didn't create this, but I've gotten the moniker, the video content Superman. over the years. And people call me that. They say it all the time. And about 18 months or so ago, it really started to hit me of, you know what? I'm actually pretty darn good at this thing. But I wanted to ask myself this question. What made me good? Like, what is it that I do that creates such fantastic content, right? And that started me on this journey. And so we've been teaching it to our team forever. And there are different parts of the team. And we've been teaching pieces of it forever. I started looking at it more holistically and started realizing that there actually is a defined system behind what makes me the quote unquote video content Superman. More importantly, when my clients say, hey man, you've helped me shorten my sales cycle by 50%. People show up and they're ready to buy. What causes that to happen? That's what I spent my time doing. And that is what I'm now bringing to the world. Yes, video, great tactic. AI, great tactic. But it doesn't matter what you're doing. This stuff is the fundamental that I'm going to be bringing.
I love it. And you've, like I said, you've been doing this since, you said 2010, doing a giveaway of QR codes. It's amazing how much social media has evolved.
Yes.
And for those of you that are listening to the podcast and not watching it, you can always see Atiba wearing some Superman hat. I think you have a collection of over 50?
Over 200.
200. I didn't even know that was possible, but over 200 Superman hats. And really, that is your superpower, is AI and video, I feel. It's only one piece of the puzzle when it comes to social media. Those are the new kids on the block. They're kind of the sexier kids on the block. But it really comes down to being in this world and in social media for so long, you'll see trends come and go. And if you're and I mean, that's how I came up with my 4-post strategy. And this is why I love bringing different ideas onto the show for my listeners here, because my 4-post strategy, it works for me. It's something that I learned after being in the industry and doing this for, since 2004. But there are different trends and different tactics and different ways that so this person does that. What if I applied this metric and this tactic on Facebook and then did this on his, and you learn these things. I think that everything that you've been doing has been kind of a culmination up until this moment right here where you are giving away this new strategy, and your strategy is different than mine because you have a different superpower than I do. So I can't wait to dive into it and really talk about what it is that you've noticed works for you and your clients that kind of is all encompassing, that you're ready to just give out to the rest of the world.
I'm going to start by saying, if you haven't seen the movie Focus, one of Will Smith's lesser known movies back from 2015, go watch the movie. Because in the movie, he explains something that is so crucial to life and business. Okay. So really, really quickly, give me 3.5 minutes on this, Katie. Okay. 3.5, start the timer. Here we go. So Will has a crew and they do gambling heists. They do this big heist. They win a bunch of money. And then Will takes all of the crew's money and goes and makes one big bet with this big guy and loses all the crew's money. Now the crew's pissed off, as they should be. And Will, with his hand tucked behind whatever, how do they say that, goes in and says to the guy, hey, give me one more chance, one more bet. Now they're at a football game, right? And they're in the box suite. And Will says, listen, what I want you to do is look out on the field. And if you don't know, there are, 110 players on the field of a football game and on both sides of the ball, total, right? He said, choose any number, any one of the players' numbers. And then he turns around and he looks at Margot Robbie, who was in his crew, and says, and she's going to guess the number that you chose. The guy thinks, you're an idiot. You're insane. But I can't stand to not take free money. Now, Will doesn't have the money and he's trying to win it back. Margot Robbie's going crazy because she's like, how could you put me in this situation? How am I going to choose a number that he's seeing? The guy looks out on the field, chooses a number, says, do you need me to write it down? Will says no. He says, Margot, step up and do it. Margot doesn't want to do it. He said, Margot, step up and do it. Margot steps up. She looks out. She looks out. She looks out. She looks out. Then she stops. She sees someone on their crew on the field wearing the number 55. She turns around. She says, 55. And the guy looks at her, looks at Will. She says, no way, no way. How did she do that? That's so incredible. Will wins a boatload of money on that gamble, takes it all. Him and Margot run out of the suite, run out of the stadium. They get back to the car, and Robbie is like beating on him. Like, how did you do that? Why did you put me in this? How did that work? And Will, at that moment, said to her, ever since he got off the plane yesterday, we've been showing him the number 55. When he showed up to the hotel, the bellhop had a 55 on his lapel pin. He stayed on the 55th floor. The chandelier had 55s, okay? Will went so far as to send the man, and sorry, this is lewd, send the man a hooker with a 55 tattoo. When Will got to the suite, he put on music in the suite. Okay? The music in the suite went, whoo, whoo. That is 55 in that man's language. So he's subconsciously hearing 55 while he's looking for the number. It's called pre-framing. Okay.
One, I want to go see this movie. It's called Focus, starring Will Smith and Margot Robbie,
Yes.
whatever. It's real clever.
But here's the thing. It's real.
Okay, let's talk about that.
It's not a trick. It's real. And that is the point of social media. Social media has the ability to help you pre-frame your customer for the sale.
Tell me.
It's not just about throwing up 55s, right? You've heard of content strategy. We all have heard of content strategy. What am I going to post? What am I going to talk about? Yeah, that's great. Okay. You've heard people tell you you need to add story into your content strategy. Share about yourself. Yes, all of that is great, but there's something that you were missing. There's a third piece that you're missing, and that is the theory, the content theory. I learned this from Dennis Yu years ago. I've adapted this from Dennis Yu's training. It's why, how, what. Understand that your ideal customer has to get to know, like, and trust you. They have to move along something we call the buyer's journey, from not knowing you to trusting you before they're willing to buy from you. You can do that on social media if you understand the journey. And that is the theory. Why, how, what. There's 3 buckets of content. 3 buckets. Why, how, what. Starts off with the why. It's your largest bucket. Why is this important? What are the values that we share? In simple terms, why do you like red sauce versus white sauce for your spaghetti?
I guess fettuccine. Okay, yeah, keep going.
Exactly. Exactly. Right? Why is it important? Because I never even knew there was white sauce. Come on. Spaghetti is red. That's not even pasta. Come on. White sauce. But that's the point. Somebody who loves white sauce will never love your marinara sauce, if that's what you were selling. Ideal customer. Okay. So the point here is your why content connects you with your audience and what you believe and why these things are important to both of you. It's the majority of your content. And when I say majority, Katie, I'm talking 70% of your content. And so and I know you're going to agree with this, Katie, that's one of the big problems that we have is people want to think that I'm going to create one post, which is going to be the one hit wonder and everyone's going to buy. No, it doesn't work that way. No, it isn't going to work that way. Right? So that's your why. Then the how. How is how I do something. So whatever it is that my business is, whatever it is I sell, how do I do something? Now, something small. I remember you mentioned Rich Brooks, mutual friend of ours. When I did Rich's in person and I did a workshop for Rich in person, one of the people in that audience was a lady who builds custom yachts. I'm talking the several $1 million custom yachts, the big, beautiful boats. Yeah, she builds those things. And so when we got to talking about how, she said, so should I do a time-lapse video of me building a boat? I said, no, No, not at all. Not at all. Because in your why videos, or why content, you talked about what? Craftsmanship being a really big thing when you're spending this kind of money on a yacht or what have you, right? So show them the detailed craftsmanship you put into installing a doorknob. That's your how. It doesn't have to be showing them the entire thing, just a piece of it that says, look, I'm doing it. Let me show you. I know what I'm saying.
I think that that's a great way of really rethinking the whole content creation is you're creating for your audience, not for you.
Yes. Yes.
And now for just a quick break. You've heard me talk about some of my favorite social media tools on the show, and one of them is a tool called Metricool. Metricool allows you to plan, analyze, and grow your digital presence all in one place. From websites to LinkedIn to YouTube, you can track everything that you're doing online and see just what's working and what isn't. Check out Metricool today at katiebrinkley.live/cool. All right, let's get back to today's show. If someone's sitting here saying like, man, this all sounds amazing, and I thought I was, but I'm not seeing the results, Atiba, what would your advice be for them? What tips would you give them on ensuring that they are creating for their audience and that they know who their audience is?
Yeah. Great question. Now, before I answer that, I got one more bucket, which is the what bucket, which is one that trips a lot of people up. Let me make sure I cover that, and then we're going to get into to your question. The what bucket, y'all, is not what you do. That's not what it's about. That's where a lot of people get tripped up. The what bucket is, would you like my help with that? So it is what you do, but you're not saying, hey, buy my thing. No. Would you like my help with that? And there are tons of different ways that you can ask, would you like my help with that? But the essence of it is you're asking for the permission to help them, for them to raise their hand and say, yes, I want your help. Yes, I'm interested in what you're saying. Okay. So now to answer your question here, all of this starts with, and this is where, when we go back to focus and why pre-framing works, Will had an obsession with his audience. He knew that man would bet on anything. He knew he couldn't turn down a gamble that looked like it was in his favor. So when Will and his crew did that first heist, they did that first heist so Will can get the money so that he can go to that guy and deliberately lose a bet to set up the next bet. That's how well he knew his audience. That's how well. And that's how well you need to understand your audience as well. Now, let's talk about, okay, I'm putting this content out there and I think I'm understanding the buckets and I'm now thinking about it in the buckets and I'm putting it out there in the buckets. But what are my views? Yeah, shut up. Love you, but shut up. Understand the point of what you're doing. If you're putting out a post about red sauce versus white sauce, you're not trying to get people to say, I want to buy that. No, you're just trying to get thumbs ups. That's what you're measuring right there. You're just trying to get some reactions. You're just trying to say, red, no, white. Easy. My son and I, one of the things that a lot of people know about me is I cook a lot. So my son and I did a live cooking video a couple days ago on Facebook, and it's a Facebook Live, and we're teaching how to make curry chana from dry chickpeas. Okay, that's a how video, y'all. Okay, the comment from Iris was, oh my gosh, I have never thought about using dry beans for anything. Thank you, I'm learning how to do this. Can you use dry beans for other things too? Ding, ding, ding. That's a great response to a how piece of content. So understand, when you start looking at your content now, you're going to look at it and say, I'm looking for different types of responses. Okay. The next thing in there that gets really important. So on my own personal content, people love my travel post. People love to see the little thing of my face on the plane flying all around.
We do a lot of traveling and speaking.
Yes. And I show up places and people are always talking about that post. About every 2 weeks, someone reaches out to me and says, how do you create those? Can you tell me? Okay. So people engage and they love those. Now, do any of those actually sell anything that I do? No, not at all. Not at all. They're not designed to. What they're designed to do is collect people who love to see that type of stuff and know a little bit about me. And so what I pay attention to is who's liking and who might be commenting on those. Great. Now I'm going to create another Y post that now is a little bit in more my wheelhouse, talking about video or talking about content. And now I'm looking to see how many of those people that were on the travel post also comment over here. And so, see, I'm building tribe. I'm building
That's
community.
exactly it. I love it, Atiba. I want people to really hear what you just said. It's similar to the four post strategy, what you're talking about, but I think this is what so many people are missing is that they're creating the content, but they're not looking to see who their community is being built from, like what the content that's creating. How can I say this nicely? The content that is
Bluntly,
building your community there.
yes.
The content that is building your community by going in and looking to see who the likers are, who the commenters are, who the story watchers are. That's that's it right there. I mean,
Yes.
I love looking at that stuff. And if someone hasn't commented on my post for a while, I'll know like, I wonder whatever happened to Atiba. He used
So
to
and
like
so.
all of my
Yep.
LinkedIn posts, and now he never does. And then maybe I'll just send him a good old text message and say, Atiba, how's things going?
And that's it. Right. Let me give you a real story on this that just happened. So I had a business coach that I was talking to, and she said to me, she said, I'm not getting a ton on any of my business coaching content that I'm putting out, but people are reaching out to me on DMs when I post about hormone therapy and the hormone replacement therapy that I'm going through. I know these are my type of people. It's like, great, great. So know who those people are. And you're saying you're not getting a ton on your coaching stuff. But let me ask you a question. Those people who reach out to you on DMs, are they also on those posts as well? And you're like, yeah, they are, but it's just them. I'm like, that's who loves you. And it's okay.
Yes, it really is the data. When you know who it is that you're talking to, you can create the content just for them. And I think so many people are missing that
Yes.
important point. Now, if someone's listening and they're saying, man, Tiba, you're a great storyteller. I want to go see this movie now. This all sounds great, but nobody comments or likes my posts.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Yeah, you're probably right. Nobody likes your stuff. I mean, you see it. Nobody likes it, right? It's probably because you are focused on the wrong thing. You're thinking about yourself and the fact that what you want is for someone to comment. What you want is for someone to click. What you want is for someone to like, versus giving to someone something that they want to comment on, giving to someone something that they want to share with someone else. Again, getting back to Will, are you obsessed with your audience and that understanding of what your audience is? So I give you an example. I've got a customer that I've been working on. Y'all know how that is. When you got long sales cycles, I got a customer, they've been in the funnel for a while. It's two of them. They both love me, but they're just not ready yet. They're not ready to spend the money yet. They're okay, fine, cool. I'll wait. But one of them is on all my social media. So he comments on everything. The other one, who I know is very analytical, doesn't comment on much. And so we put out a post, and I was like, this is for the analytical people. Guess who the first person to comment on it was? He didn't comment on anything else, but he was there. Right? I'm like, yes, still got him. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's because I know the audience.
It's so important.
You got to know your audience.
Knowing your audience is essential. And then what I've done is I've built out my entire different audiences based on my social media platforms using ChatGPT and AI.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that,
yes.
again, this is, kind of coming full circle to all of what you've been focusing your efforts on. Like, so where I've always been kind of about like, how can I get more impact with doing less? I don't know.
Me
if
too.
that's a good thing or a bad thing about me.
It's a great thing.
That's been my focus for the past decade. And that I do remember during Clubhouse days, I got a lot of people were like, well, you're not on the app all the time, Katie. How do you have 100,000 followers? And I'm like, because I have figured out what works here, and I post my rooms, I promote them, and then I go out and network following the rooms. Man, that seems like it was forever ago, but it is all about figuring out the way that things can work for me. And I think that what you've been focusing on over the past 2 years with video and being the video guy and being the AI guy, this has set you up for really developing that strategy to create the content that your audience wants, because You know how to read the data, you know how to do the video, you know how to use AI to help you. Oh, I want to do a video about A, B, and C. Okay, here's 17 different options on it because you have
Yep.
all that knowledge built into your GPTs and everything. So, man, whenever we talk, time always goes by so fast. I think that means that you need to come back for another episode.
Let's do it again.
I mean, we do. As kind of a parting thought with your new strategy, which we're going to tell people about here shortly, so don't go anywhere. You can get the link in just a minute. But as a parting thought, what would you tell people is going to be their biggest mind blown aspect from this strategy that you've created that's going to just not it's going to change their business if they start implementing this strategy for their social?
Yeah.
It will change their business.
I'll tell you, it happens to me. And so I'm going to tell you what happens, right? And it happens for my clients. So I have a friend, Dean Isaacs, and Dean introduced me to somebody that he had just met at a networking event on LinkedIn. He really doesn't know the guy. They don't know each other. The guy messages me. We message back and forth just a little bit. Yeah, let's chat. Get the link. We set a meeting for about a week later. He gets on the meeting and I was writing something, so my head was down. And he comes into the meeting, and all I hear is, and as I'm looking up, I hear, Tiva, how are you? And then he says, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I feel like I know you so well because I've just been watching so much of your content, and I just feel so close to you already. And I know you don't even know who I am. My friends, that's the point.
Yeah, that
That
is the point.
is the point.
I think that that's the power of social media. When you show up authentically and you're building the content for them, and you have that effect. It happened when you and I met in real life. It was so cool. I'm like, yep, there he is. And it was we hugged, and I was like, man, this is like the real first time I've ever actually met you. And
Yeah.
but the social media has that power. All right,
Yes.
so for those who are interested in learning more about your strategy and following, you just launched a brand new newsletter. They want to sign up for your newsletter. They want to, I mean, obviously, anytime you see him speaking on a stage, go to his session. But if people are
Thank you.
interested in this content strategy that we've been talking about for this whole episode, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you and to learn more?
So, in case you couldn't tell, the whole point here is be obsessed with your audience. You got to know your audience first. So we talked about the fact that, yes, there's strategy, there's story, but we got to add in theory. And so I've built a system that has all of those in it. But it starts off with being obsessed with your audience, because if you don't know who they are, you cannot do any of the rest correctly. So Katie mentioned using AI and so on and so forth to help build ideal customer profiles. Well, my friends, I have been building ideal customer profiles since 2002. Lots of experience in lots of industries. I've taken all of that and put it into a blueprint template for you of here on. I think that the darn thing is almost 6 pages long. The outline is 6 pages long, explaining all of the different areas of the ideal customer profile that you need to know and understand. And I'm going to give it to you for free. All you got to do is go to contentcoach.social. Contentcoach.social. It's there for you. You can go get it for free.
Amazing. And of course, we'll have it linked in here and all of your socials linked in here. I think this has been such a great conversation. We got to get you back on again. We can't wait another 3 years between.
Yes. I can't believe it's been that long. My gosh.
No, right? Well, thank you again for joining us on Rocky Mountain Marketing. It's always a pleasure talking with you. I'm excited to see what's on the horizon for you because you have so much that's happening this month and in the month of June. And I think that it's really going to be an amazing 2024 for you.
Thank you. And as always, I look forward to the journey with you because you are, and if y'all don't know, she literally is one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet, especially in person. This woman is so giving. This woman will introduce you to people. She will take care of you in ways that you didn't even realize you should be taken care of, which then causes you to judge other people who aren't doing nearly as good of a job. That's Katie Brinkley.
just use that as an endorsement going forward. So no, that'll be my tagline going forward. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I hope you're leaving with valuable insights and the inspiration to lead your market. If you've enjoyed our time together and found today's podcast episode useful, I have a small favor to ask of you. Please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with the latest episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, maybe a fellow business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, go ahead and share this episode with them. Let's spread the knowledge and grow together. Also, I'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation beyond the podcast. Visit me at katiebrinkley.com to connect, to find more resources, or just to share your journey. And be sure to pick up your copy of my new book, The Social Shift, at katiebrinkley.com/book. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Katie Brinkley, and I can't wait to dive into more strategies and stories with you on the next episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Let's keep on taking your marketing to new heights.